to Pahkitew Island. No shacks, no hotels, no hot tub. It's an all-new season with an all-new island and all-new victims. This is Total Drama Pahkitew Island.
So, it's been about 8 years since Pahkitew Island released on television, and with the buzz still surrounding the new seasons of Total Drama, I thought I would go ahead, play some Bob the Builder for a bit, and try to fix this season, or I guess I should say back half, because for some odd reason they consider All Stars the first half, despite Revenge of the Island being its own thing, but I digress. From the new characters to the new island, we're going to discuss it all. But before we dive into everything, be sure to click that like and subscribe button if you want to stay in the Total Drama loop, as well as other future videos I put out on the channel. So without further interruptions, let's begin. So the first thing I want to point out is that the start of the season was honestly pretty good. When it comes to character introductions, Total Drama does a solid job at showing us what these characters are like, what teen stereotype they're based off of is, what their motives are, and Pahkitew Island is no exception. Now when it comes to the characters, a lot of them were unfortunately just so unlikable. If I'm being completely honest here, Sean and Jasmine were the only two characters I absolutely adored, with the rest of the cast either being barely tolerable or just outright unlikable. So to fix this issue, I think what I'm going to do here is make these characters' flaws not necessarily disappear, but knock them down a few pegs. So that means Beardo's sound effects will only be used at a time where it's needed. Maybe he fakes a nuke dropping to scare the other team off. Leonard still acts like a wizard but has some actual skills, similar to Harold. Amy of course still hates Sammy but actually focuses on the game. Rodney will be the strong muscle man and not fall in love with every female on the island who talks to him in a friendly way. Dave definitely needs to chill out like a lot, just to put it lightly. Then there's Scarlett and Sugar, who I feel could actually be this season's first two main antagonists who actively are trying to eliminate contestants left and right without only focusing on trying to one-up each other like how Heather and Alejandro did. As for the tolerable crowd, Max I think does a great job as comical relief, but could still use a few more actual evil moments, just not on the same level as Scarlett. Topher being Chris's stalker, I think it would be pretty cool if he were to actually take advantage of this. Maybe he gets some leadway and challenges for his team, then later on goes off the rails to try and replace Chris like he did originally. Ella, Sammy, and Sky I think were alright characters, just with Sky being a little bland. Of course, Sean and Jasmine I had zero issues with and consider them to be S-tier characters this season. Now moving on to the island itself, I think a robotic island was a really cool idea that was executed very poorly, and I wish there could have been a lot more done with it. The general consensus was that this season needs to be more difficult than the previous seasons of Total Drama, but I believe it could still be done in a way where the contestants are still provided food and shelter, which would also make Chris not look so psychotic. And I must say that I really was disappointed to not see much contribution from Chef, so I'd have him get more involved, especially in the challenges. When you look at the original Total Drama Island, things were nice and simple, and I feel Pahkitew could have implemented that so much better than what we got. Now, timing wise, things aren't so great. The season is shorter, eliminations are quicker, we're not getting time to really know these characters as in depth as we'd like. The 13 episode format just doesn't work as well compared to one long season with 27 episodes for sure. Now of course, more recently, the seasons have been shorter, as we saw with Revenge of the Island, All Stars, and now Pahkitew. However, when it comes to the upcoming new seasons, it seems that we'll be going in a completely different direction, with the same cast having 2 seasons with 13 episodes apiece, which will be really interesting to see play out. Nonetheless, I double up on Chris controlling the island in challenges, similar to how he allowed Jazz and Dave to take control of the island in the finale. Expanding upon the two main antagonists, Sugar would be all manipulation, conning Dave and Sky and whoever else to do her bidding, just much smarter this time. Scarlett would be all action, finding out about Chris taking control of the island and stealthily getting her way into the control room, where she can assume her position as the real threat of the island, where she uses it in a way where she doesn't blackmail Chris for the money right then and there, but make the game that much more harder for the other contestants. While that's going on, Topher would smooth things over with Chris, maybe into having a nicer cabin with overall small advantages and challenges, up until he gets in too deep where he tries to replace Chris. Leonard would have long already upgraded the cabin with his mad skills, so now things would be fairly balanced. Obviously the drama between Sky and Dave would be settled. Since I'd have Sugar frame Sky, Dave would find this out and sacrifice himself as he originally did, just in a more meaningful way. Maybe he rigs the votes or something. All in all, this would give Sky the ambition to gun for Sugar. Lastly, when fixing the finale, I think Sean vs Sky was meant to be, but I could very well be just as satisfied with Scarlet being thrown in there, just to have one of the main antagonists be in the finale. If not, Scarlet and Sugar eventually canceling each other out would work out just fine. Of course, I bring back all the contestants that competed this season, not just 2 helpers. Oh, and there definitely needs to be cameos and callbacks to previous contestants. Frankly, not having any at all references to them was not only shocking, but really disappointing to say the least. By the finale, Dave would explain why he chose to eliminate himself so Sky could focus on the game. They talk, work things out, become a couple. Sean and Jasmine would work out their differences. With the alternate endings, viewers could decide which team would get the money on top of their new relationship, and whatever team didn't get the money, hey, at least they now have each other. Ultimately, we get a happy ending for this season. Overall, these are the changes that I think would make Pahkitew Island a whole lot better, but for what we got, at least I can say at the very least it's better than All Stars, which again, not much to be proud of, but still. If there are any changes you think would have improved Pahkitew Island, or if you think it's perfect just the way it is, I'm curious to know your thoughts, so leave them down in the comments. Alright viewers, that crosses off fixing Pahkitew Island on our list. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave me a like and subscribe to the channel, I greatly appreciate it, as well as let me know what lists you'd like to see next. With all that said, I look forward to seeing you with our next list.